What's up? How's everyone doing? Everyone, no one. Come on. I'm trying to get this coffee lid off. Can't figure this one out. There he is, man. He's back. Back for more. Oof, man. So I'm going to pull up a couple things really quickly just to show you what happened yesterday after I left. This is like this restream. I don't know. Like it's the only thing that actually I can't say it's the only thing that glitches out on me, but I'm having this issue where things like glitch out on me. And here's like I don't know. It's weird that it happens on the stream also because to me the stream I don't know. The stream doesn't actually stream my monitor, right? Does it? Like, is this my monitor glitching out, or is this something going on in, like, I don't know, on the internet, the interweb of things? It's weird, but this thing is glitching out hard, and it's just weird to me that it actually picks up on my broadcast because I don't know, whatever. I'm not sweating it. Anyway, here we go. Yeah, right. It has to be like something on the web. It can't be. If it was my screen, it would not broadcast on, like, it wouldn't be streaming on live on Twitch or whatever on, YouTube Live. Like, you would still see the picture fine. Anyway, here we go. Here's what I did yesterday. I played around with that rock some more last night, and this is the, I guess, sort of final render. And I can go in and show you like what I did to the background there. And I just like rotated this thing a little bit and messed with this lighting a lot last night. I was just playing around until I got something sort of fun. I don't know. I'm pleased with it. Again, I still have like so much to learn about, I think, lighting. And I was just messing around with like this background. It's cool. Yeah, it's very asteroidy and it's like smoky, whatever, kind of whatever. If that's like some sort of gaseous atmosphere, gaseous, gaseous atmosphere kind of in the background. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. I love how like that purpley kind of highlight comes in from whatever's happening down here. I wanted it to be. I was trying to get the black more in the background. I would love to be purple here, whitish, kind of yellowish color here or something, and then black on top. Because I really like wanted it to look like it was like sort of floating in space. And I would think space is more dark than anything. But I don't know. I don't think the lighting really matches up very well, right? Seems like there's more light kind of coming from the top here, and I would think that the light would be. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a lighting expert, so I'll figure that stuff out. But I think it looks pretty cool. It's pretty wicked. Let me show you what I did to that, and then I'll show you where I'm gonna go today, hopefully. Recent files, rock number 2. Yeah, at the top. I agree. Let me go to this render view, and I will bring this thing over here so you can get a good look at it. It's going to take a while because I have well, let's go into my settings while it's rendering. All I did was add global illumination. And again, how you do that is hit in your render settings. You have to go to Effect and check on, where is it? It's over here somewhere. It's probably not here because it's already there. Global illumination would show up right before glow, I would think. Makes sense? Object glow, like all these cool effects would be really sweet to mess with glowing and stuff like that. Ambient occlusion, I think, is another cool one. And I don't really know what ambient occlusion does, but I think ambient occlusion and this global illumination are 2 really awesome effects as far as like I've read and stuff. Anyway, I changed width and height to 1080 by 1080 because I'm outputting this stuff to Instagram mostly. And so that squares up my frame. And this camera here is outputting to my render view here. See how I have this camera 1 set up there, and this is the default camera there. So anyway, I have to set up that camera angle, get a nice angle that I want, because that's going to be, this camera is going to be the camera that I use to output to Instagram, right? That's my final thing. I wonder if you could set up like different cameras for the output. That would be really interesting, right? So if I set up multiple cameras and had multiple camera views, camera angles, and then I save each one of those as a different like JPEG, and I can get different camera angles, would be neat. I wonder how I would do that. We'll figure that one out later. But anyway, that's like basic settings, and this is not even like final resolution. As you can see, it's still like a kind of, it's a whatever, not a high resolution, but once it outputs to this guy here. It's a pretty solid resolution, if you ask me. Okay. Yeah, so that's that one. Oh, background. I input a background in there, and I put this material, and I messed around so much with this material. It's really just inside the color. I did a gradient and 2D 4-corner gradient, and this was the cool one. Where is it? Oh, turbulence. I added some turbulence to it, which started giving it that cool, like, smoky, foggy look, which is cool. I was thinking, I'm not going to mess with it now because I want to get to a different project, but I was thinking of messing around with foreground. So I put background in. I wonder if foreground, if I did the same kind of material, if it would give like a foggy look up front. I don't know. There's also, inside these materials, there's a fog tab, a fog setting, which I have not messed with. I don't know. All these things there's so many things to play around with. But that's my basic, that's the setup that I had going on there to get the image that you saw a minute ago. Control W, close. Okay, this one is what I'm working on today. What's ROB? RGB? Yeah. Yeah, you can mess with all that stuff too, all the coloring. Yeah, I mean, dude, you can get so far, like, in the weeds, you can get lost in it. This is going to take forever to render because there's a lot going on here. I rendered it last night. It took a decent amount of time, but and I'm semi-pleased, not really pleased with this, because I just the render in that preview window was not so high resolution, and well, that was cool. No, I want to go back to that crystal. I was trying to zoom in, but I guess I'm not in the right view to zoom in. This is just the final output. Anyway, so, plus. Hey-yo. Pretty wicked. So I just wanted to see what this would look like when it was like rendered out in like a decent resolution. And it's cool. Again, I have global illumination on there, and I have like a infinite light on there, and the background is just black. So I just wanted to get a quick look and see if this was rendering out at all like I wanted it to. And I'm pretty pleased with it. It's cool. There's some like weird things going on around here, like weird, I don't know what's up with that. It looks like maybe a shard is floating out, but I'm going to show you how we made this. I just followed a tutorial. I'll show you the tutorial that I followed, which was way easier. I think yesterday's 12 o'clock stream, I was trying to follow another tutorial that was like, wow, man, I got so frustrated with it. But this is the one. Inside this Crystal and Jewelry C4D tutorials, this is a playlist that it just popped up on YouTube. I just started searching, like, I don't know, C4D Crystal or something. And this whole playlist pops up. And the third one in this one, Cineversity, is a pretty easy to follow tutorial, and it gets into using MoGraphs, Voronoi fracture, stuff like that. So I'm going to look how cool that looks. Even just like a cluster like that looks cool. But when you do, some sort of dynamic, there it is. The dynamic body expression inside MoGraphs, which we'll get to. It automatically does this like animation. It's called this dynamic body expression is a rigid body. And so when you hit play here, it just starts to, all these things fall like they're rigid bodies. And they fall all over the place. And so the idea here is to pause it at a certain frame when it scatters out far enough, to the I guess like the distance that you want it to, and then you could render out that image. Or you could probably render out the entire video. This is 90 frames, 30 frames a second, so 3-second video, which will probably take 3 hours to render out the entire thing. But I bet you it would look really cool. Anyway, that's what we're getting into. It's 10:42. I have about 15 minutes left before we cut out, so I'm going to try to do this all over for you. Okay. Check my render settings. Good. Global illumination's not in there, so I want this thing to try to render out pretty fast for you. So I am going to put a camera in here, camera angle, and we'll mess with that in a second. It's going to grab a cube, and I'll put a material on this really quickly. Let's go. Put material on there, and I don't know. Can I just put like a regular background and control drag out? We'll control drag out and make a copy of that material. I will put this on the background and just really quickly double click on this. Oh, actually I could just change the color right here probably, right? Cool. That'll work. Just so we can get a decent view going here. Here, I'm going to make this camera 1 and view, use as render view. And Alt R. I don't know if I needed that background, honestly. I think it would just render out black as it is. And I'm just going to get a cool view going here. Whatever. It's good enough. Okay. Let's see. If I hold like Alt on this guy and shut it off. Yeah, see? By putting a background on it, made it worse. But whatever, I'll leave it. No, I'm going to delete it. Okay, cool. Here we go. Cube. Let's get going. Up in MoGraph, I'm going to do Voronoi fracture. And now I have to put this up in here. Booyah. Okay. Now this is a basic fracture going on. If I did like a rigid body or something now, it probably, it would be really cool to animate like a fracture, these things just crumbling to the floor. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, cool. Now I am going to mess with this fracture to make it look like crystal shards. So how do I do that? Okay, click on the Voronoi fracture up here, bring up my parameters down here, and sources. Inside source, point generator, and I'm going to bring this window up a little bit so we can see down here. Okay, so apparently you want the Y to be as close to 0 as possible. So the closest you can get is 0.01. And that makes it. I wonder if, like, I don't know, let's go. I see. Okay, cool. I want these things to be a little like, I wonder if you can get them a little more like tapered, angled towards the bottom. That's tapered towards the top. I'm just messing around now. No, that's too much, too much, too much. I'm messing with the Z-axis now. To see if I can get like, how about mess with the X-axis at all? See, these are getting like way too wide and weird now. I want them to look like decently crystal shardy. Shardy? Okay, whatever. Who cares? Now I am going. Oh, I know why. I have to set these points. I only have 20 points right now. Like the more you put here, like if you put 500 points, it's going to break it up real tiny. Those are really, really tiny shards. And now I'm getting that kind of look that I was going for before. Whatever. I could like still mess around with it. It's still too much though. I'm going to drop it to like 200. I don't need them that tiny. Maybe I'll go 100. I don't know. Cool. All right. Decent, I guess. I don't like how. I don't think it really matters. I'm getting too crazy now. Whatever. Okay, cool. You could leave that. I think the default was 2. I think this default is 2. This is set as close to 0 as possible. You can mess with your point amount here, which is going to, that's what you're playing with is these fracture points up here. The more you do, the more fractures you get, essentially. Okay, cool. So far, so good. Now you see that this thing is still just a solid block because we didn't do anything really to it yet. Okay, now I am going to add another distribution source. And you see that it added one right on top of the other. And we are going to keep most of this stuff, go here, point generator, keep most of the stuff the same. So what was I at, 100? And, 111. I got to go back and switch that, 0.01. Keep Y the same. I'm going to go back in here, and these were all initially 111. Okay, cool. Sweet. So now I have 2 point generators, and what happened was essentially that this one is right on top of the other. So now if I go back to inside transformation, if I raise this either up or down, if I bring it up, you'll start to see the separation here. And what we're going to do is wind up hiding this top box, so only the bottom fracture will be seen, if that makes any sense. And so that's going to give us our kind of shard look. But I am thinking of making really short shards, really small ones, I think. So if I zoom in on this guy, these are, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyway, okay, so I've got 2 things, pretty much 2 fractures set pretty much the same. Now it's time to delete or hide the top fracture, so only the bottom fracture is seen, and I think this is how you do it. I think. We'll see. I'm going to go into my 4-panel view here and zoom in down here, and I think actually, I don't know, if you view, I think if you just press H or something, right? So if I'm here and I press H, yeah, it zeroes it up. And then if I click, I don't know if I even need to click. What if I, yeah, okay, cool. That's all zoomed in. Select, oh man, Voronoi fracture. Let's go back in. Let's go to this one. All right, so I want to select all these points, and then I also want to select the sides, because that will, when you delete it, it will make it less boxy. So go up to MoGraph and go to MoGraph selection. Now I want to change over here. You see where MoGraph selection popped up. It's on brush mode. If you go to rectangle mode, then you can click and drag. I'm going to select, I think I want all of these green ones. We'll see. I either want these ones or those ones. Let's see. And then holding shift, I want to select the sides. this works. I'm still holding shift, by the way. Okay, select all those, select those. Now if I go up to MoGraph and do hide selected, yeah, it hit the bottom. Ugh, ugh, look at that. That's ugly. All right, Control Z. Let's go back. Try these ones. Select those ones and do the same thing. Select. Now, back here, hide selected. There you go. I still got a couple of like high ones here. I got a bunch of high ones here. How do I get rid of those, you think? It's only a few. I don't want to delete them. I just want to bring them down almost. Whatever. Let's go back here. And we'll work on this view. Okay. So far, I've got this not so great looking. It's still really square. I could have done a better job. I don't know. What happens if I like just select these? Oh, no. Let's go back here and zoom out on this. What if I just like, let's go back to this guy and go to this fracture, select this thing. What if I go back and try doing this again? What if I wanted to select the bottom instead? All right, let's see. MoGraph, hide selected. I didn't do anything, right? Okay. Let's just mess things up more. Okay. That's good enough. Good enough, I guess. I really hate those high ones. But whatever. HP rocket. Okay. Whatever. We're gonna mess with this. Go to. I think I just do a random effector or something now. So MoGraph, and I go to effector, and I go to random. There you go. Randomized it. But parameters. Yeah. What if I leave this at x is at 0? Oh, whoa. Uncheck position. I don't want to mess with the position. I just want to mess with the scale of things, maybe, on the y-axis. So I can make them like really tall and long and stuff now, maybe. Okay, I know there's something that I'm missing here. Uncheck those. There's something I'm missing here. I want to make sure that they grow from one direction only. I think from the bottom or something. And I don't know if uniform scale is kind of cool. Or not. No, I don't like that one bit. That's way cooler. Effector. Synchronized. Oh, that this is it. Min max. Inside effector, minimum if you make not negative 100, if you make it 0. There you go. I think that's a little better. Now I could nope. Go to my fracture. I think, yeah, and move this all the way up. I'm going to go to F4 and bring this guy sort of to the floor there, my x-axis. And now I'm going to click here, and I'm messing with this camera angle now. Let's go to my settings. I totally forgot to do this. If I want to make this out to 1080 by 1080. Okay, it's just this one that's really the worst, the one that was sticking up so high. Okay, now if I go to, ooh, man. I think it's on Voronoi fracture. If I right click and go to simulation tags, I think I want to put rigid body on that. So now when I hit play, whoa. Oh, I didn't put a floor. That's why. Delete. I want to put a floor in. Okay, so if I just put a floor on and control select these two, now right click and say rigid body. Then hit play. I mean, it's cool. I don't know why it's not falling. It's just exploding. Sweet. But that's not what I want. What do I need to make it pan out like that? Is the question. Why is that different? Because it's just exploding, which is still cool. I love the explosion, actually. That's neat, actually, just the way that looks there, but I want it clustered together. Collision. Ooh, this is interesting. This is really interesting. Dynamics. Basic. Okay, collision. Bounce, collision noise. Size increment, keep soft body shape. I think I want to mess with this maybe. What's ellipsoid? Well, those really scattered a lot. Cylinder? X-axis. Let's see what happens now. There's just really, I mean, way too much. Way too much force, I think, going on. Something is apply tag to children. Something's not cool. Automatic. Okay, that's way softer. Friction. Less friction. Oh, that's cool. All right, more friction. I want it to fan out. And I don't know why it's just blowing up like that and not fanning. Is that in dynamics? Dynamics enabled? Oh, that's neat. Okay, so I want to enable it. keep soft body shape, man. Nope. Man, I don't like how it's not fanning, and I don't know. I don't know how to get it to dynamics body. Okay, so here in the dynamics body is a whole bunch of stuff. Force. That's interesting. Okay, so I got to get into this whole why is it not fanning out thing, right? Dynamics on. I want that on. Trigger immediately. Ooh, that's interesting too. Transition time is 60 frames. I don't know what that means. Okay. Well, I got to figure out what to do there with the floor. I don't know what that's. I don't know why it's scattering like that. But let's go into. Let's just pause it at a certain frame here so that we can render it. It's like still. It's way too scattered. I would love to. I need to be more uniform, and I don't know why it did that. Why it's doing that instead of the way I had it before. Go to material really quickly. I'm going to take the color off and turn transparency on. It'll make it like a sort of glassy color if I want to. Yes, I change it to ice. Ice. Plexiglass could be kind of cool. I don't know. And you'll see it start to render out there. What if I put this material on the floor? There you go. That's neat. All right, we'll get there. Okay, so now I got to figure out why it's not fanning out. And then maybe we'll apply some colors to the crystals, but it looks kind of cool. I wonder if I could delete most of these except the one that I like and then mess around with that. Like this one looks really neat. I'm already liking that one. All right, I'm going to figure this out. I'll be back at noon in a little while to mess around with this some more. But yeah, we're making some crystals here. The crystal calls. That's a dark crystal reference. All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit.